Don't move. If you move, there's a canine in my car. You're gonna get dog bit. Stop moving your hands!
The suspected male in the white hoodie was later identified.
A 22-year-old just finished his shift. He walks outside, sits down on a bench in front of the store where he works, and waits for his ride home. 2 minutes later, a police officer has him in handcuffs, is threatening to tase him, and is warning him that a police dog is about to bite him. His crime? Sitting on a bench. The young man says it over and over, calmly. I work here. I just got off work. And he is telling the complete truth. This is Paul Wert, a CVS employee in Edgewater, Florida. And by the time this is over, the charges against him will be dropped, and the officer who did this will be out of a job. My name is Ben, and I am a criminal defense attorney. I am not here to sell you outrage. You can get that anywhere. I am here to walk you through the law, line by line, because this is a perfect example of how fast a lawful life can turn into an unlawful arrest when an officer decides he does not like the way you look. So here is what I am going to break down for you. I am going to explain why hiding behind a pillar, the officer's whole justification, is not even close to a legal reason to detain you. I am going to show you the moment he threatens a police dog on a kid who is doing nothing. I am going to explain why the resisting charge they hit him with was legally impossible. And I am going to show you the officer's own words to another cop, which quietly blow the whole thing apart. Watch closely, because the lesson here is that you can be completely innocent, completely calm, and still end up in handcuffs unless you understand your rights. Real quick before we dig in, if you want to actually know what to do when a cop rolls up on you for no reason, subscribe. I break down a real case like this every single day. Okay, let us get into it. Let me start with the officer's entire justification, because the whole case rises or falls on it. His report, and his own words, come down to this. He saw a young man in a hoodie near the front of a closed business at night, and he says the man tried to hide behind a pillar. That is it. That is the sum total of the suspicion. So let us talk about the actual legal standard, because this matters for you too. To detain you, to legally stop you from leaving, an officer needs what is called reasonable suspicion. That means specific, articulable facts that you are involved in an actual crime. Not a hunch, not a vibe, not, he looked out of place. And here is the problem. Sitting on a bench outside the store where you work, at night, is not a crime. Standing near a pillar is not a crime. Wearing a hoodie is not a crime. Being somewhere an officer thinks you should not be, without more, is not reasonable suspicion of anything.
I just got off work. You don't believe me?
Dude, you're gonna get tased.
Okay, I work here.
Turn around.
I work
Stand up and turn around.
Okay, I work here, sir.
Put your hands behind your back. Don't move. Don't move. If you move, there's a canine in my car. You're gonna get dog bit.
I wasn't.
Stop moving your hands!
The suspected male in the white hoodie was later identified as Paul Wert, an employee of the CVS where he was arrested. Although the alleged suspect notified Officer Rippian that he had just gotten off work, hadn't committed a crime, and did not seem to be under the influence of any substances, the officer still decided to detain him.
6K9 3 Central. I got one detained. If I have the channel, you can clear it. Who is that? Is that person related to you?
No, that's my lift. Can you just let them know that it's
Dude,
it's $40.
I asked, okay, I pull up. Let's recap everything.
All right.
So I pull up, I see you sitting there, and then all of a sudden I'm pulling up, you're hiding behind the pillars of a closed business. How's that look, dude?
Well, you say hiding, I just got up and
Dude,
took a walk.
but just look from my, it's a closed business.
Right.
I pull up, you're hiding behind the pillars. It looks...
And I want to flag the specific trick at work here, because you will see it in case after case. Officers are trained to describe innocent behavior in loaded language. He did not step behind a pillar. He tried to conceal himself. He was not standing there. He was lurking. He did not have his hands in his pockets. He was making furtive movements. Same actions, scarier words. Courts have gotten wise to this, and have repeatedly ruled that vague labels like furtive or suspicious, with nothing concrete underneath them, do not add up to reasonable suspicion. So when you hear an officer narrate completely ordinary behavior in dramatic terms, understand exactly what is happening. He is building a justification backward, starting from the arrest he already wanted. Now watch how fast it escalates, because this is where it stops being just a bad stop. Within moments, this officer is not calmly asking questions. He is issuing commands. Turn around, put your hands behind your back, do not move. And then comes the line that should stop you cold. He warns the young man that if he moves, there is a canine in the car that is going to bite him. Think about the situation. A cooperative 22-year-old, sitting on a bench, no weapon, no crime, no threat, is being told to freeze or be attacked by a dog and threatened with a taser. The law requires that any force, and any threat of force, be proportional to the actual threat the person poses. And the threat this kid posed was 0. That disproportion is not just aggressive. It is the kind of thing that turns a bad afternoon into a civil rights lawsuit.
Strange. Does that look weird? Does that sound weird to you?
You said
and then
hiding.
listen,
Okay,
and then I tell you you're detained.
Yeah.
And you're telling me you're gonna leave.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
I understand.
Then you were resisting.
Okay. I apologize. You said hiding. I just got up to put my hoodie on. That's all I did.
Do you really work here?
I swear to God, I work here. But what time is it? Can you tell me what time it is? Just tell me what time it is. I get it.
What's your name?
Look up what time CVS closes. Look up what time CVS closes. It's 10 o'clock.
You got your ID card on you?
I didn't do anything wrong, sir. I got off work and my manager just left. His name is Mike.
Well,
Although Wert had been wrongly arrested to begin with, the officer still began to illegally search his person, committing a civil rights violation on camera. The Fourth Amendment protects against unreasonable searches and seizures by the government. Victims of such violations can pursue a civil lawsuit.
And let me put a name to why that matters, because there is a specific legal test for exactly this. When courts judge whether an officer used or threatened too much force, they use a standard from a Supreme Court case called Graham versus Connor. It asks whether the force was objectively reasonable given 3 things: the severity of the crime, whether the person was an immediate threat, and whether he was actively resisting or trying to flee. So run this stop through that test. The severity of the crime, there was no crime. The immediate threat, a seated, unarmed, cooperative young man, none. Resisting or fleeing, he was sitting still and talking. Every single factor points the same direction. Threatening a taser and a police dog in that situation is not some close judgment call an officer gets deference on. It is force with nothing underneath it, and that is precisely the kind of thing that strips an officer's legal protection in court. And here is the part that makes it worse, because the answer was right there the whole time. Over and over, calmly, the young man tells the officer the one fact that ends the entire mystery: I work here. I just got off work. That is not just an excuse. It is verifiable in about 30 seconds. Ask for his ID, which he had. Call the store. Look at his uniform. An officer acting in good faith takes the innocent explanation sitting right in front of him and checks it. This officer did the opposite. He decided on his story first and treated the truth as an inconvenience. When an officer ignores exculpatory information that proves you did nothing wrong, that is a giant red flag, both morally and legally. This is exactly why you subscribe, by the way, so you see how these situations actually unfold before you are the one sitting on that bench. Now let me explain the charge, because this is the part that is almost poetic. They arrested him for resisting, and I want you to understand why that charge was legally impossible from the start. In Florida, like most places, the crime of resisting an officer without violence has a built-in requirement. The officer has to be engaged in the lawful execution of a legal duty. Lawful. That word is everything. If the underlying detention was unlawful, and a detention with no reasonable suspicion is unlawful, then there is no lawful duty to resist. You cannot resist your way into a crime that only exists because the officer broke the rules first. This is not a loophole. It is a core protection. It exists precisely so that police cannot manufacture a charge out of your reaction to their own illegal stop. And it is very likely the exact reason the prosecutor took one look at this and dropped it.
Passing by, I see someone sitting here, so I was like, I'll dip in and check who it is. As I'm pulling in, he hides behind the pole. So I'm like, that's fucking strange. So obviously I need to talk to this guy. His business is closed.
Yeah.
I go talk to him, like, hey man. And he's like, am I being detained? I said, yes, you are. You're being detained.
Yeah.
And I asked him for ID. He said he doesn't have it. He says, my ride's here, I'm going to leave. I said, no, you're not.
Yeah.
And then I said, and that's why he was like, getting up to leave. And I pulled my taser out, and Drago started barking. I think he got a little worried, so he fucking started to comply then. But, so he's going to jail for resisting.
Where the hell's his ride?
That was his Uber right there. Apparently he works here, but, dude, he passed that point, and he's trying to jump in that and leave.
Yeah. Is that his shit that's on the bench up here, too?
Yeah. I do believe that he works here. I mean, he looks like he's in workers' clothing, but I mean, he was going to try to dictate and tell me he was going to leave. So
Yeah,
I'm not playing that game. No, he's going to learn, fortunately, the hard way. So it's pretty clear and simple. And
LMP to begin with.
He was hiding behind the fucking pole, which dude, that was fucking strange because I've never seen someone like get up off the bench and hide. He left his shit there too.
That's weird.
There's like a tablet and stuff on the bench.
Yeah, he was hiding behind the pole when he saw me pull in. I don't know. And then I asked him. He's like, my ride's here, I'm going to leave. I said, no, you're not, dude. I said, you're detained. And then he went,
Now let me be fair, because if I only give you one side, I am no better than the outrage machine. Here is the officer's best defense, and it is not nothing. A business is closed. It is late at night. An officer sees a person lingering near the building, and maybe steps behind a pillar. Officers do have a duty to investigate suspicious circumstances, and a brief, consensual conversation, hey, what are you up to tonight, is completely lawful and often smart police work. So let us take that seriously. Here is what breaks it. Investigating is not the same as detaining. An officer is free to walk up and ask questions. What he is not free to do is command a cooperative person to freeze, put them in handcuffs, and threaten them with a dog, all before establishing that any crime occurred. And the second the young man said, I work here, and offered to prove it, any shred of suspicion had an obvious, innocent answer. A good officer says, let me verify that, and this is over in a minute. This one had already made up his mind. And you do not have to take my word for how thin it was, because the officer told on himself. Listen to how he explains it to another officer at the scene. In his own words, the whole basis is, he was hiding behind the pole. That is strange. So he is going to jail for resisting. Sit with that. The justification for a man losing his freedom is that an officer found his position near a pole strange. That is not probable cause. That is not reasonable suspicion. That is a feeling. And when the entire legal foundation for an arrest is a feeling that the person acted a little odd, the case is already dead. It just does not know it yet.
Wasn't fucking lying to himself, so yeah, he's fucked. All right, face the car for me, bud. Don't lean against the car so hard. I gotta check your pockets. You got anything illegal on you that you shouldn't have? You are going to jail tonight. I was pretty clear with you and cool. You don't get to tell me that you're gonna leave, okay? I told you, you asked me if you were detained. I said yes, dude. And then you decided you just want to leave and do whatever the fuck you want. Are you gonna talk or? No? Okay. That's fine. The fuck is this, a fake pocket?
Yeah.
Yep. You want them what side you want them on?
So let us talk about what it cost, because this did not just evaporate. A young man was handcuffed, threatened, and booked into jail for the crime of waiting for a ride after work. The charges against him were dropped, as they had to be, and the officer, after the footage got out and the department investigated, resigned, gone. And I want you to notice how rare and how important that is. It happened because of the body camera. The same device meant to justify the arrest is the exact thing that exposed it. His commands, his threats, and his own casual admission that all of this was because a kid looked strange near a pole. On top of losing the charges and the officer, Wert has a real path to a wrongful arrest and false imprisonment claim, because being jailed with no lawful basis is about as clean a civil rights violation as it gets. And here is something most people miss. The officer resigning is not the end of the city's exposure. It may be the beginning. There is a Supreme Court case called Monell that lets you sue the city itself, not just the individual officer, when the harm comes from a policy, a practice, or a failure to train. So a sharp civil rights attorney is going to ask one simple question. Did this department actually train its officers on what reasonable suspicion means, and on when they can and cannot detain someone? Because if an officer genuinely believed that standing near a pillar justifies handcuffs, a taser, and a dog threat, that is not just one bad officer having a bad night. That is a training failure. And training failures are how a single wrongful arrest turns into a payout the entire city feels. That financial pressure is very often the only thing that actually changes how a department behaves.
Take a seat.
Seatbelt?
What's that?
I was just asking about this seatbelt right here.
You don't want to have, you don't have questions for me? Do you understand why you're getting arrested?
I was just sitting there. I got.
Do you understand why you're getting arrested?
My lift came.
I'll pull this back so you don't get too hot.
Okay, no. Put my hoodie back on.
Nope.
Alright,
I don't want you to overheat back here, dude. So you don't want me to explain to you? You're good? I want to explain to you. I think I dictated a little bit what was going on. You look, it was very strange, dude. Closed business. I pull up, you're hiding behind the pole. So I get out with you, okay? I asked you to identify yourself, then you asked me to detain. I tell you are detained, okay? Because loitering and prowling, I can investigate that. Although I'm not going to charge you with that, nor I'm going to go further in that. I asked you to identify yourself. If you fail to do that, I'm going to charge you with resisting, okay?
After being processed at the local police station, Paul Wert faced a single misdemeanor charge of resisting arrest, with a bond set at $500. But when the details of the arrest were made public by local news outlets, they triggered a wave of public criticism. Facing mounting pressure, the district attorney's office ultimately dropped all charges against Wert.
So here is what I want you to take from all of this. Because most of you are watching thinking, that could have been me, or my kid. Hear me clearly. You are allowed to exist in public. You are allowed to sit on a bench, wait for a ride, and stand near a building. If an officer approaches, you can be calm and polite, and you can ask the two questions that draw the line. Am I being detained, or am I free to go? If he says you are free to go, you may leave. If he says you are detained, you ask, what crime do you reasonably suspect I committed? You do not have to answer endless questions. You do not resist, and you do not fight it on the sidewalk. You stay calm, you let the camera record, and you let a lawyer win it later. Because as this case proves, an unlawful arrest does not hold up once someone actually reads the law. That is why you know your rights. If this opened your eyes even a little, do me one favor and subscribe, because tomorrow there is another case, and the next one might be the one that protects you. I am Ben, and I will see you on the next one.